Hey everybody, how's it going? So people have been asking me a lot, what is hypnosis? And that's obviously a really great question, right? You ask that to a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist, and they'll give you a response something like, it's that feeling when you're driving in a car and suddenly you've missed your exit, right? Or you're so engrossed in a film that you begin to weep as the main character just dies, saving the world from utter destruction, right? You have to suspend that belief that those are just actors on a screen for those moments. Now, you don't really care what's going on around you while you're so entranced in something. Some people have this misconception about hypnosis from television that it's some sort of loss of control, but really, it's the most control you've ever had over your mind because you're tapping into parts that you normally don't have so much control over. Now, while this is all true, this does a little bit more of addressing the feelings happening in hypnosis and a little less of what's happening. So I really want to dive deep into what's going on when you're hypnotized. So by definition, hypnosis is just a state of consciousness that involves focused attention with reduced awareness of what's happening around you. And when this happens, you have an increased response to suggestion. So essentially, you're more suggestible. But what does this really mean? So research at Stanford done back in 2016 has shown some of what happens to the brain under hypnosis. And basically, there's decreased activity in the part of the brain called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, or the DACC for short. That part of the brain is a part of our salience network. This contributes to a person's self-awareness by integrating sensory, emotional, and cognitive information. So in a sense, less activity there equals less self-awareness. So in hypnosis, you're so absorbed that you're not really worried about anything else. This is why you get people saying, it feels like you're in a dream, right? Or it's a waking dream state. Another thing this research found was boosted connectivity between two other parts of this same salience network, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the insula. Now, the insula is responsible for processing emotions such as body control, emotion, empathy, and time, while the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is highly involved in cognition, memory, and decision-making. So what this means is that if hypnosis boosts that link between the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the insula, we believe that we can help people control and process what is happening in the body. Now, this is a really, really important concept. So let's look at something like anxiety. Anxiety is your body's natural response to stress. It's a feeling of fear or apprehension of what's to come. Now, a region of the frontal lobe called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, where we heard that before, the DACC, amplifies fear signals coming from the amygdala, which produces palpable anxiety, right? So cognitively, there's a lack of concentration, there's racing thoughts or unwanted thoughts, restlessness, and the body feels fatigue and may begin to sweat, right? It's also common to feel excessive worry, or this anxiety feeling, fear, a feeling of impending doom. It may also cause insomnia, nausea, palpitations, and trembling. So, if the DACC is quieted in hypnosis, and the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the insula get better levels of coherence between one another, we can help the brain better control the process of what's happening in the body. Now, this really comes into play when you hook someone up to an electroencephalogram, or EEG, and we look at the brainwave patterns under hypnosis. Now, with hypnosis, you can take people into an alpha-theta crossover state. Now, this is a method used to encourage a shift into lower states of arousal. And this is indicated for people suffering from addiction, PTSD, and anxiety. Now, alpha waves are typically in the 8 to 12 hertz range, and theta waves are in the 4 to 8 hertz range. So alpha typically dominates when the eyes are closed and the brain is in a relaxed state. Theta is associated with creativity, spontaneity, memory formation, and global synchronization. It's important to note that an excess of theta activity can result in distractibility and inattention. So individuals with ADHD often have a little too much theta activity going on. The point when theta amplitudes exceed alpha amplitudes is referred to as a crossover. Outcomes of this alpha-theta crossover state include increased receptiveness to suggestion, hypnosis, emotional resolution of repressed or emotionally charged memories, improved memory consolidation, which aids in learning, increased insight and understanding, reduced anxiety, and enhanced creativity. So in essence, hypnosis creates the optimal environment for rapid behavioral change. It's a little less talking about how you feel, and a little more making how you would rather feel possible. How would you like to feel today?